crimes would you say that people shouldn't go to prison for?
Shouldn't go to prison for?
It should be more of like rehabilitation and not actually sitting inside a prison cell. People who you say are not a danger to society. So what kind of crimes would you say?
Parking tickets, stuff like that. People go to prison for that. Like financial crimes.
Okay, so I would say that someone who's a fraudster shouldn't be in prison. Would you say they should be in prison?
I don't think they should.
So how would they learn their lesson? Because I think everything's about... So to you, is prison about punishment or rehabilitation?
I think the punishment should fit the crime, but I don't think financial crimes are the same as, like, I don't know, beating up someone's mum. I think it's completely different.
So you say that if someone... Let's say someone's defrauded the government of, say, $1 million. Okay? And...
I think we should all clap. We should all turn up to his hearing and clap.
Okay, let's say someone's defrauded a company. Let's say someone went to Scion London and basically robbed Scion London for 100 grand. Okay. So now he's gone to court, he's been sentenced, charged, whatever. Yeah. Should that person go to prison for doing that?
I think there's got to be some way where he can make the money back, like for the.
What's the rehabilitation for someone who's a fraudster?
Community service in the.
Because I think the whole point of rehabilitation is for them to do it again.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem we have with crime in general, whatever it is okay, I don't want you to do it again. Okay. So when we talk about the use and talk about the problems, and you say you want to get someone off the road, or you want to get someone to stop selling drugs. Mm-hmm. What's the alternative? Like, let's say this guy's a fraudster. He's now come out of jail after doing 4 years. The biggest problem is now, what is the next step? Because we're talking about the reoffending rate, which is very high. My question now is people are being released, and people are upset. And I'm like, I don't think fraudsters should go to prison.
Yeah.
As mad as it's going to sound, should drug dealers go to prison? Should drug dealers be released from prison early? Drug dealers. And this is the problem, is that I don't want to put a levy or a category, but there are categories for different drugs. So maybe there is categories anyway. Someone who's selling weed, should they go to prison for selling weed? I don't think they should. One could argue and say that there's a lot of mental health issues now surrounding weed, especially psychosis. I've got friends who work in a mental health institution. They're saying that a lot of these black brothers who are actually going cuckoo is because of the weed.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm going to contradict myself. If someone is selling weed and they're mixing it with all this sort of stuff, if it's causing someone to have mental health issues, should they not be locked up? So maybe I'm right in saying drug dealers should go to prison then.
Yeah, but then you've got like things like where people are drinking codeine and stuff like that, and that's you can.
So would you say that drug dealers shouldn't go to prison?
I don't think so. I think there's categories to.
So what should happen to it? So how do we? I don't use the word punish, but how do we stop a drug dealer from selling drugs?
Because I think that's two separate questions. Because the way I see it, the only reason why you would commit crime is if one, you're good at it, or you have no other choice, or you're an idiot. 3 reasons. Like kind of in the middle space. But like if you're good at it, you're always gonna do it because you're good at it. If you've got no other choice, you're always gonna do it because you've got no other choice.
Do we have a choice?
To a degree.
For someone who's committing crime, is it unfair to say that every single one of them has an alternative?
I think to have an alternative or a choice, you have to be aware of the choice. So you can't say to someone that isn't aware of their options that they have a choice because they don't see their options.
Because I committed crimes to make money when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I sit there and say, did I have a choice? I had a choice, but I think the problem is that the lifestyle I wanted, I couldn't afford it on the wage I was earning.
Yeah.
So therefore, I wanted to cheat the system to make more money. So, for instance, if you just want to make an honest living, you can make an honest living, but it might not be enough of the lifestyle that you want, which makes you want to commit crime.
Yeah.
So I think we all have a choice, and I think no one needs to commit crimes to make money. But I think the lifestyle. What I'm talking about is guys who I know that have sold drugs or done fraud. And I'm talking about myself who've done fraud in the past. I was working, and I was earning enough to take care of myself. But I saw that, and I wanted that, and I knew that I couldn't get that on my salary. So therefore, I started doing extra stuff to make that money.
Yeah.
So whether I'm someone who's selling drugs, whether I'm somebody who's doing fraud, whether I'm somebody who's fudging my expenses, working in Parliament, which is still a crime.
Yeah.
You know, whether I'm somebody who works in an establishment for the government, and I've got a friend who's got a building company who does the roads.
Yeah.
And then my friend tells me that it's only going to cost 50k to do that tarring of the floor. But I say, no problem, I'll send you 100 grand. That's going to be the invoice, and you just give me the 50k on the back end. Like people are committing financial crimes in so many different ways.
Exactly.
Because we could talk about money laundering, and you have to remember that the way that the government takes money from the public pocket into the private pocket is by creating wars and creating problems.
Yeah.
So you got to remember, if there's like a big company who deals with arms, if I need to get 5 million out of that account, the public account, all I've got to do is create a problem, and that money goes into that private person's pocket. So the question now is if we're trying to stop, if the prisons are filled, and we're saying, okay, someone who sells drugs, it's not a violent crime, okay? Should that person go to prison for selling drugs as it's not a violent crime?
I don't think so, bro, because the thing is, when you create a system, right, there's rules, and to any rule book there's ways you can jiddles it to kind of like move in between the lines, right? So whenever you create a system that's not designed to help people, there's going to be people that try and jiddles the system. That's just how it goes. So where you said, like, for example, if you was working a job, you was making good money, but you saw something you wanted, you had the self-awareness to say, I'm not going to get to there from this job I've got now. So you found a way to get it. Now, if to say you was given an opportunity where you could make enough money to have what you wanted, would you have still took the risk to do that crime?
Probably not. But there are
would
people,
say no.
Probably not. But then if you look at someone like Hush Puppy,
Yeah.
okay, who was making millions,
Yeah.
he could have stopped, but
He's good at it.
It was, exactly.
So-
And people
so
always
he's
say
never gonna
quit
stop.
while you're ahead, and people don't want to quit while they're ahead. You know, and what kind of character? So let's say with all of this stuff I do, where I've claimed I've got restaurants and this. Let's say you found I was actually a big drug dealer.
That'd be amazing.
No, but what would that? How would,
That would be amazing.
what
Hey,
would
where's
you
the Chandler documentary? Like,
what would you not think of me?
That'd be amazing.
What would you not think of me? Just imagine that all the businesses were there, but let's imagine I was a big drug lord who was shipping in tons of cocaine. What would you think of my character now?
This is me. I would respect you more than I do now,
Why?
because what you've built is amazing. I would never have known you're a drug dealer until you tell me.
So, but doesn't that change your character? Don't it change my character?
Not at all.
You don't think I'm a bad person?
Nope.
You don't think drug dealers? You wouldn't see someone who sells drugs or sells cocaine or sells weed to somebody as a bad person?
No. I
What do you
think
think of their
that.
character? Someone who breaks the law.
I don't think you're a bad person, but I think sometimes good people have to do bad things to get ahead.
So technically, what you're saying is that you don't see drug dealers as bad people.
No, I see
you don't
as-
see fraudsters as bad people.
Nope.
So doesn't matter what fraud it is. So let's say I bring up old ladies.
Yeah, I think morally, if you're frauding an old lady, that's bad, man. But I wouldn't respect that. I wouldn't be like, yeah, you're sick. If my boy was ringing up old ladies and taking their pensions, I'd be like, you're a
People who
dickhead.
snatch phones, you say there's bad people?
I think things that affect the average everyday person, I don't agree with. So when you're taking things from grannies, you're taking things from like direct from people that they themselves have to replace. I don't appreciate it. I don't respect that. But
Am I not a bad person then for selling drugs? Or are you going to say because somebody wants these drugs?
I think you're facilitating a demand, and that person should use their own discernment to decide whether they want the drugs or not.